Hey guys, this is a 52-inch Moss Marco Polo ceiling fan from 1983. I recently got this fan off the Facebook Marketplace for 30 bucks. This fan is made by CEC. Earlier Moss Marco Polos were made by CEC, and the later ones were made by Aircool. I believe these fans were the very first Emperor-style ceiling fans. These things came out in the late 70s. The very first version of these fans, they had very thick blades. The blade tips were a bit more rounded, kind of like how you would see on a Hampton Bay with those kind of rounded blade tips a little bit, if you know what I'm talking about. And they had very skinny cane blades. And sometimes they wouldn't even have a switch housing. The light kit would be directly attached to the motor. And sometimes, if it didn't even have a light kit, then this thing would be turned upside down. And instead of having a variable speed control, it would be controlled by a wall mount control. And then later on, they added a switch housing and a variable speed control. And then in like 1984, they were made by Aircool. Their motor housings became, the motors themselves became a lot more lighter. And then in 1986, the Moss Marco Polo was replaced by the Hampton Bay Genoa. Here's a closer look. Unfortunately, as you can see, one of the blade brackets are slightly bent. It came with these really lovely crystal pull chains. It has the original globe, which is very nice. And notice how the top of the globe is very flat. You can tell that's original to the fan because on a lot of Moss Marco Polos, their globes look exactly like this. And globes that are made today, the tops are very rounded. They do not make globes exactly like these anymore. And what's very nice is the pull chains are very shiny. They're not rusty at all, which is very surprising for a fan this old. And it has a green motor, which is very cool. And the blade screws are flathead screws instead of typical Phillips head screws, which is kind of unusual. And this is a bit newer because it has a newer reverse switch. And the reverse switch on the older Moss Marco Polos, they were a bit longer. The variable speed control is not original. As I mentioned in the previous video, the original variable speed control was not working, but instead of using a remote for this fan, I decided to order an identical variable speed control off of eBay. And I hooked it up and it worked. The blades are reversible cane to plane. And there's the top shot. It has a very nice bell canopy. Even the screws for the light are flathead screws. That's really cool. All right, now I will demonstrate it for you, starting off with the light. And now for low. As you can see, it has a pretty fast low speed. Mossparkle Polos with factory setting variable speed controls at their factory setting trim pot level. If you know what I'm talking about, their low speeds were pretty fast. Here's medium. And here's the highest speed. This thing blows a ton of air. This is probably the fastest 52-inch fan I have in my collection. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.